Ladies and gentlemen, welcome here to race number 21 of the 2015 NASCAR Xfinity Series season. We are live here on our second straight road course race in the series. Mid-Ohio, here with Alex Tagliani. Starting on the pole, alongside the number 62 of Brendan Gaughan. Road 2, we have the 42 driven this weekend by Justin Marks. Driving the Crest Chevrolet, alongside Reigning Series champion and your current points leader, Chase Elliott, in fourth. Down below, you'll see your starting grid rolling across the screen. Inside the top 5 is Chris Buescher. And then you got a great qualifying run out of the number 25 this weekend, driven by Dylan Lupton. 6th place with the 25. Morissette, Ben Rhodes, Regan Smith, and Brandon Jones, your top 10. Also great qualifying runs for 12th and 13th place. Starters J.J. Yaley and Dylan Kwasniewski in the 97. Now, as you see your starting grid, you probably notice in a few seconds that there is no 40th place car. That is because Mid-Ohio, this track, only allows up to 39 cars, meaning one driver who made the show will not be able to start the race. Today, that driver is Tim Cowan, driving the 86 car. He ran last weekend's race at Watkins Glen, and he will be credited with a start here at Mid-Ohio, although he will not be able to start the race. Running out the field, that way will be the number 19 of Kyle Kelly behind the wheel this weekend. Chase Elliott, 18 points on Darrell Wallace Jr. Brian Scott, 3rd. Regan Smith and Ty Dillon. Your top 5 separated by 22 points. But Darrell Wallace Jr., who's 2nd in points, he could easily be 7th in points after this race. Anything and everything can happen here on a road course like Mid-Ohio. Let's take you to the green flag. Alrighty, we are coming down on a green flag. Alex Tagliani, Brendan Gaughan, side by side. We are underway here at Mid-Ohio. And look at Justin Marks making it 3 wide for the lead, entering turn number 1. Tagliani off track into the grass. Elliott into 3rd. As they remain side by side, Justin Marks gets by Tagliani. Now Chase Elliott to the inside of the 42 and the 22. Chase Elliott's been kind of off the last couple of weeks as we saw one car spinning. That's Dylan Lupton in the grass at 25 of Lupton. Such a great run in qualifying, but ends up going off track. We have a big crash in the back. That will probably bring out the caution because that is a pretty big contact on the 13 of Carlos Contreras. I believe the caution lights are on. 39 of Ryan Sieg, the 26 Tommy Drizzy. Caution is out. Justin Marks, Alex Tagliani, Morissette, Chase Elliott, and Chris Buescher. Chris Buescher, top 5. Brandon Jones, 6. Looks like Ben Rhodes, Elliott Sadler, J.J. Yaley, and Brendan Gaughan, your top 10. And here's Morissette to the outside of Tagliani. He goes off the grass, so does Elliott. Now Buescher and Jones will get by the 9. Kenny Habul off track in the 20. Allows Ryan Reed to get by on the 16, or does he? Coming back down the line, moving by pit road. Winning the race at the line will be the 42 of Justin Marks, who was pulling away from Alex Tagliani. Morissette, Chris Buescher, and Chase Elliott. And there's the 13 of Carlos Contreras. A lot of front-end damage. Tommy Drizzy, Ryan Sieg. David Starr's back here. Brian Scott being shown 35th. The guy 3rd in points. And right now also Kevin O'Connell driving the 40. And we just saw Carlos Contreras. Here is his nephew or son. I'm not quite sure. Enrique Contreras driving the 15 this weekend. Ryan Ellis is 74. Brandon Godovic's in the field. Lupton is right now 25th. Andy Lally driving the 90. Michael Self in the 0. Dylan Kwasniewski in the 97. And Justin Marks, your race leader. Let's go back and see a replay with Carlos Contreras as he has taken his car behind the wall. And that 13 car will finish 39th today. Well, right here, and now because I'm not really familiar with Mid-Ohio, I'm not quite sure which turn this is. Probably turn 2 maybe. Let's see, I'm first going to see David Starr get turned by his teammate Cale Conley. Ryan Sieg gets bounced off the 26 of Tommy Drizzy. It hits the tie barrier right there, the 26 and the 39. And nowhere to go for the 13 of Carlos Contreras. He pretty much took the hit for Kevin O'Connell, who was running right behind him. The two teammates to 40 and to 13. And Contreras runs right into Tommy Drizzy. And you see how the contact on the rear end of the number 26. That's why we are on the yellow. And also let's go back and see what happened to Brian Scott. We did not really get a good look at what happened to the 2 car. Brian Scott, there's Dylan Lupton already in the grass. Possibly some help from the 28. Oh, he looks like looks like he either loses. Looks like he maybe just drove it in a little bit too hard, or maybe he got some help from the 7 of Regan Smith. But possibly just lost the car. So right now, Justin Marks made it 3 wide on the start. Got by Alex Tagliani, the pole center, and was starting to drive away from the number 22. And we are back on the yellow. I kind of got to a little late start right there, as Eric McClure is on pit road. I believe a car actually stopped on the track right before we went green. That's why we were back on the yellow. Eric McClure in the 24. Yeah, you see somebody. Yeah, it looks like the 24 McClure lost power, so we were not able to go back green because of the 24 stalled on the track. So we're gonna try it again, and we'll get the green flag when we come back. Alright, now we're going back green this time by. Justin Marks out in front of the field. Alex Tagliani and Boris said the top 3. And we can tell you that the 24 of Eric McClure has took his car behind the wall. McClure will finish 38th today. Chris Buster trying to close in on your point leader right there. Chase Elliott running 4th, Elliott 5th. Brandon Jones 6th, Ben Rhodes, and that's from those 2 young guys. Elliott Sadler, Brendan Gaughan, and great run for J.J. Yaley right there up inside the top 10. Going back to green here, Justin Marks. Tagliani spins his tires. Here comes Chris Bush to the inside of Borsed. Tagliani into the grass. Same with the 54 of Borsed. Busher clears Borsed in the 54. Borsed going to fly back on the inside though. Sadler moving by Brandon Jones in that 33. Suarez by Brendan Gaughan. Jeremy Clements, 51. Dakota Armstrong, 43. Dylan Lupton. Brendan Godovic had a nice run last weekend at Watkins Glen. Joey Gates, Derek Cope, Ryan Ellis, Enrique Contreras. Brian Scott has to gain a lot more of these spots back right now. He's gotten up to around 31st. And Justin Marks trying to pull away from Tagliani. Elliott trying to get back by the 60 of Busher. Looks like he might be able to do so. Elliott off track again almost into the gravel trap, and Busher clears Elliott. Now look at the run by the 88 of Ben Rhodes. His momentum stalls. Rhodes almost off track, almost in the grass. Opens up the door for Brandon Jones. Another car into the grass. Michael Self in the 0. Gets back going. Regan Smith is outside the top 15 right now in that 7. And Boris said finished second last week to Brad Keselowski at Watkins Glen, driving this 54 car. Once again, he's in a position to win the race. Right now running second to Justin Marks. Does the 42 make a mistake? Does the 54 pounce? Tagliani, Busher, and Elliott. Rhodes 6. Brandon Jones, Sadler, and Kenny Habboud now your top 10. Back to Ben Rhodes. He started second last week at the Glen, and he ran up front for the whole race. Finished 7th, a career best with the number 88 of Ben Rhodes. Brandon Jones making his first Xfinity start on a road course. Elliott Sadler right now 31 points behind, losing more points. Kenny Hubble inside the top 10. Brendan Gaughan running 11th. Last year's winner at Road America. J.J. Yaley, Michael Self running well, 12th and 13th. Ryan Reed and Dylan Kwasniewski nearly make contact, and now Regan Smith running 16th. He needs to gain more points, and he goes off track. Behind them, the same with Darrell Wallace Jr. Right there in the middle of your screen, you see Brian Scott last time by. He was scoring 27th. he is closing in and picking up more spots. Chastain off pace as he goes in the grass. There's Brian Scott moving by Brandon Godovic. Dylan Lupton trying to move back up through the field, and the cautions waves once again. We are on the yellow, and the 43 of Dakota Armstrong, and looks like the 4 of Harrison Rhodes off track. And the 43 is off pace now, Dakota Armstrong. 14th in points, and you see he has some heavy damage on the front end of that Winfield Ford. And it looks like Brian Scott a little bit too aggressive, and he turns the 43 head on to the outside tire barrier right there. See Harrison Rhodes in the grass, and I'm not sure what happens to the 4, and there he is. Rhodes way wide into the next corner, and he goes in the grass, and all the damage to the 43, and his day is over. Armstrong out the race. So now, Justin Marks, Moore said, Alex Tagliani, your top 3. And the first couple of restarts, we've seen the 54, or actually the 22, restart far away from the 42. The 54 is moving by the 42 of Marks. Is there a possible problem on the 42 of Justin Marks? No, he's not maintaining speed. Oh, but he's in the wall now. Trouble for the 42 of Justin Marks, off pace. The Crest Chevrolet, your leader, is on pit road now. What has happened to the 50 to the 42 of Justin Marks, who is right now, as you see, being shown off pace? Possibly a mechanical problem on the 42 of Justin Marks. That will hand the lead over to Boris said in the 54. 9 laps are now put on the board. We will have 6 laps remaining when we go back green next time around. Alex Tagliani once again will be second. Chris Buescher, Chase Elliott, and Ben Rhodes. Now your top 5. A great run out of the 88. Elliott Sadler, Brandon Jones, Daniel Suarez, Kenny Habul, and Brendan Gunn. How about Michael Self, 11th, Yaley, Reed, Kwasniewski, and Ty Dillon needs to get back up to the front. He's 15th. Regan Smith, Darrell Wallace, Kel Conley, Blake Cook, and Ross Chastain. Lupton, Clements, Lally, Ryan Scott, 24th in that 2 car. We will try to get an update on the 42 of Justin Marks. Actually, we can tell you that the 42 of Justin Marks has took his car behind the wall. Marks out of the race from the lead to the garage. Now we saw him crash. Now it says he has an accident, meaning he crashed out, but I have to think the 42 may have had more than just a incident, because it looks like something under the hood must have went haywire. Going back to green here, Boris said spins his tires. Here comes Tagliani right in the rear end, stays with the 54, entering turn 1. Boris a little bit off track. Tagliani stays strong on the back bumper of the 54. Two of the more dominant cars you see in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Here comes Tagliani right there on the rear end. Almost turns the 54, Boris said. Daniel Suarez, Elliott Sadler side by side behind the top 5. And Tagliani, to look at this. He's pushing, Boris said. He's pushing, said. To the S's, Buescher wide. Elliott gets to the inside of 60, almost hits the wall. He loses the spot to Ben Rhodes. We got Kenny Habul in the wall. Same with Brendan Gaughan and Kel Conley. Brian Scott's off track. Andy Lally, Brandon Godovic, Kyle Kelly, Ryan C, and the 70 of Derek Coops on and off pit road as Tagliani. By Boris said he'll take the lead away. Alex Tagliani to the race lead. Boris said the second. Chase Elliott third. And Chris Buescher top 5. More cars off track back here. Kel Conley in the 14. Is that the 8 of Blake Cook, who was off track at the moment. Smith moving by Darrell Wallace Jr. He almost hits the pit road wall on the inside. Update on Brian Scott, who spun earlier in the race. Last time by 24th. Only one spot better in 23rd. Things stay the same at the front with 5 to go. 35 cars on track. Derek Coop had to make an unscheduled pit stop right now, running 35th. 34th is Ryan Sieg after a crash earlier in the race involving him, Tommy Drizzy, and Carlos Gutierrez. Harrison Rhodes 32nd. Kyle Kelly 31st, and Kevin O'Connell 30th. David Starr 29th, Joey Gase, Ryan Ellis, Enrique Contreras, and Andy Lally right now in top 25. Godovic, Clements, and Brian Scott off track again, this time a little bit more worse, as he's trying to move by the guys back here and lumped it in the wall. Clements in the wall, and Godovic. Now Brian Scott up here racing his teammate Ty Dillon. Looks like he'll get by. Or does he know? We got Darrell Wallace Jr. wrecking up ahead and back here and takes out the 28 in the process. J.J. Yaley involved. Blake Cook off track again. The caution will weigh once again. Racing back to the line. Alex Tagliani, Borisad, Ben Rhodes now third. Chris Busser takes fourth away from Chase Elliott, who drops to fifth. Suarez, Sadler, Brandon Jones, Michael Sell, and Kenny Hubble, your top 10. Reed, Gahn, Smith, Kwasniewski, and Cale Conley, your top 15. Cautions out for Darrell Wallace Jr., second in the point standings. And we talked about earlier in the pre-race that Wallace, even though he is second in points, he could still fall to all the way down to 7th in points in this just one race. And look what has happened. I don't think that's going to happen, though, because Brian Scott's having trouble. Ty Dillon's not running well. Neither is Regan Smith. And here's a contact right here. Looks like Yaley almost went off track and came up the track just a little bit. But Darrell Wallace Jr. ended up running into the 28. And there you see the contact from the 8 of Blake Cook. Very disappointing result for the 28 of J.J. Yaley, who was running well all day long. Right now, he's now being shown in 24th. So we will have maybe a green-white checker at the best when we go back green. Alex Tagliani won the pole. Can he go back to victory lane for the first time in his career in the NASCAR Xfinity Series? Borisad has one win that came at Montreal back in 2010. Ben Rhodes. How about this 88? How about the young kid right now? 18 years old, Ben Rhodes. Making, I believe, probably his maybe 5th start of the year. Finished 7th last weekend. Nice run and running even better. And he has a shot to win the race. Chris Busher and Chase Elliott. Elliott Sadler. Some of the championship contenders running very well. Coming back down to the green flag, 2 to go. Tagliani, can he hang on? Can Borisad get around him? The 22 gets a great jump on the 54. Elliott once again in the inside of Chris Busch. These two guys are not going to settle this out. Sadler around the 18 of Daniel Suarez. Now he will get to the back bumper of his teammate Chris Buscher. But not so fast. Here comes Suarez once again on the inside. Regan Smith trying to get around some of these slower cars like Cale Conley. Well, not really slow cars, but more of these cars not running for the championship. And now Elliott to the inside on the rear end of his teammate Ben Rhodes. Starting to think maybe Elliott went off track, and that's how the 88 got by. The 54, though, not letting the 22 get away. When we come to the white flag, the 9's off track. Buscher gets by. So does Daniel Suarez possibly. Almost 3 wide heading into the S's. Can Buscher get by the 9? Elliott keeps on having the preferred line. Buscher trying to get a run on the outside. He goes through the gravel trap. He'll lose the spot for the 9 of Elliott. And the fucking caution's back out. Ryan Reed on pit road. Can Tagliani hang on? Borisad trying to run him down. Hobble off track in the 20. Ben Rhodes third. Elliott and Brandon Jones your top 5. Coming around the final quarter. Alex Tagliani. Not only he will see the white flag, but he will pick up the win here at Mid-Ohio. From the pole to the victory lane, Alex Tagliani will win the race here at Mid-Ohio. Borisad, 2 straight runner-up finishes with a 54. 2 straight wins for Team Penske in the Xfinity Series, and Ben Rhodes, career best 3rd. Chase Elliott and Buscher, Suarez, Sadler, Kenny Hubble, and Michael Self getting a top 10 finish, looks like. Regan Smith came back to get 11th. A great rebound from Brian Scott, 13th, and Ty Dillon in 15th. But the crash happened, or the caution came out with a 16 of Ryan Reed. No idea what happened to the 16 car. But whatever it is, pretty much ruined a great finish. Ryan Reed, here it is. And was it another problem? Yeah, right on the restart, Ryan Reed possibly another engine failure in the field, just like Justin Marks and Andy Lally. 16 off track, right there on the pit road wall. That's when the caution came out. It was right when we went back green. Just like Eric McClure earlier in the race. We got the green flag, but right when we got the green flag, McClure went off. McClure had an engine failure. So we will not be able to go back green, but the race will be over right here, right now. Alex Tagliani will pick up his first career win in the NASCAR Xfinity Series here at Mid-Ohio. Morstead, second place once again. Still a great, outstanding performance by Morstead. But even better by Alex Tagliani, who did not dominate the race, but still gets the win. And how about some of these results by some of these guys inside the top 20? Nice run from Ben Rhodes and Brandon Jones. Kenny Habola top 10. Michael Self a top 10 for JD Motorsports. Ross Chastain a top 15. Kel Conley, Brandon Godovic, Dylan Kwasniewski, Lupton Clements top 20 finishes. But a bad points day for Darrell Wallace Jr. as he will lose second, third, and fourth, and fifth in the points to some of the other guys. And really and Chase Elliott was the highest finishing driver in the championship battle, so Elliott will once again extend his point lead. So after a few tough races, the 9 is back in the game and pulling away. Next weekend, it's going to be at the Bristol Motor Speedway, where all 3 NASCAR Touring Series will come together for a big weekend at Thunder Valley, the short track at Bristol Motor Speedway. We will see you there. Ryan Blaney will be driving the 22 instead of Tagliani. And then after that, it'll be Road America. So congrats to Alex Tagliani on the win at Mid-Ohio. We will see you tomorrow for the Cup Series race live from Michigan.